I'm very shiny.
You're not as shiny as the tree behind you.
We need to have a tree behind us at all times now.
Hello!
We are Annie and Konstantin.
And you're watching another episode of...
Updates. So this week a lot has happened. Not much that we can show you right now. First of all, we decided to first shoot the holiday episode and then shoot the second episode. And then also I acquired a new roommate and I'm moving rooms, which means that the location where we usually shoot the Depression Anxiety Life Hacks is currently a little bit of a mess. But by this time next week, it's going to be fully set up in a bigger room and hopefully very, very pretty and awesome. And we might shoot some Depression Anxiety Life Hacks there. We might even shoot updates there. We'll see how it goes.
For me, there's an interesting thing happening because I have big projects, and they are the projects that occupy my mind, and I spend all of my mental resources. Basically, I have this one big chunk. I'm investing all of my mental powers, and there's not much room for other things around. And this has been La Moucteur for the past couple of months. Before that it was Berlin Mitte 20 and after that it was Dacia. But now La Moucteur is coming to an end, and it's kind of interesting how my brain instantly uses the free space. I came up with a seed for another project, which is going to be more of a fictional story, because Berlin Mitte 20 and Depression and Anxiety Life Hacks, they're all documentary style projects. And now I would like to do a bigger project, which is a fictional one. I've started mind mapping this project with the code name Stuttgart Full Moon. And hopefully, probably I'm going to be able to show you more what I can show you as of now. You may remember the little tour a couple of weeks ago. So you remember the posters and the post-its. And now there's another addition. It's a mind map of an idea for a feature, which has the project name Stuttgart Full Moon.
Please notice that Stuttgart Full Moon has a little heart, which is not my doing. And it makes me very happy.
This is basically the definition of a humble beginning, is a mind map on my closet.
Also, the moment when Konstantin is like, I think I have a new idea that I'm kind of working on, is the moment I start, putting food and beverages in his hand and going, tell me more. And I think this is why you need a creative partner to be like, no, it's fine, don't work on the old project, work on the new project, keep thinking. Do you want something to eat? Do you need more beverage? I can make that happen. Do you want some coffee? We have ice cream.
Yes, it's a very professional collaboratorship which we are leading. That's what I like about our co-working. Okay, then it's time for epiphanies. My epiphany this week kind of builds on the one last week, where I talked about how there are people who are interested in building structures for other people. And I've been pondering that theme and that idea, and for me it is quite important to think about my self-definition as an artist and making art. One way of seeing art for me was always mean of communication. In a way, as an artist, you create an image, a movie, a story to communicate with the audience. And I came to another way of seeing art. The art form itself is more like a tool that is being actively used as an object, as a metaphysical object by the audience. I kind of like the house metaphor. A piece of art is like a house, and you can make it a huge house with lights, lots of lights, so where many people can fit in or find comfort in it, or you can make like a tiny, very crooked house where only few people will find interesting or delightful, and for the most people they're like, ooh, this is weird. All the windows, they have triangles in shapes, and the floors there are very wobbly. I don't like that. It's alright, but you need to be aware of the fact that you are creating something for other people to use, and for that you need to know how you build a house. As in, if you decide to make triangle shapes windows, it should be a conscious decision and not a mistake. And that's where the craftsmanship comes into art making, as in knowing how things work and changing them willingly. So it's maybe not that of a epiphany that's striking or gripping, but that's just another way of looking at art which I discovered for myself, and maybe you understand what I mean.
I haven't been reading very much for the past few years, and I'm getting back to reading. The problem I'm having is that now my brain is functioning again in a way that I like, which means I'm reading a couple pages and then I stare at a wall for an hour and I'm pondering a word. The word on my mind these past few days has been vulnerability, which is the ability to be wounded. And it's something that I think is getting a little bit of a hype right now. Like, generally, you know, being able to be wounded is not something we like, because we like to be strong and we like to be fierce and untouchable. But it's been a word that's been coming up a fair amount in art and in literature and in human relations in general. And I think to a big extent that's because it's a way to relate to one another. Because you can be hurt and so can I. And you have been hurt and so have I. And we can hurt each other. And I think especially as an artist, vulnerability means opening yourself up to your audience and saying, hi, I'm human. I have human feelings and I don't have this world figured out much more than you do. Here's what I got. Here's what I've made. Here's what I believe in. Here's what I feel. For you to pick apart and scrutinize and tell me what you think. And you're going to hurt me, but I'm okay with that. Which is something that I think dealing with, you know, the depression, anxiety, life hacks, dealing with mental health issues and dealing with, you know, living as a very sensitive person is something I deal with a lot. And I am generally very vulnerable. I've been very vulnerable my entire life, and that's been a weakness my entire life. But if you think of it as saying, yes, I can be wounded, I am very aware of that. And I dare you to go for it. Because I can survive. Because every wound in that larger sense is an experience and makes me grow and teaches me things and gives me more art to make is a beautiful approach. And in that, vulnerability is kind of the opposite of fear. It's the opposite of distrust. And it's very much a willingness to change. Because opening yourself up to be hurt is also opening yourself up to grow and to change, I think is what I'm trying to say. And also that people should ponder words in, obnoxiously philosophic and academic degrees, because it's really fun. Well, as you may have noticed, we may be a little bit tipsy already today. This is kind of an upgrade from last episode where we just started drinking. Today we're, we
didn't stop since then.
This is not the truth. I'm just a really cheap date.
You also keep mentioning that you want to invite people over for a bottle of wine. There is an image showing.
There is a theme happening. It's true. I probably would not survive a bottle of wine. Truly. I'm all talk.
Anywho.
We're covering the random bits early today. This is good.
Hopefully we'll get to the information part at all.
We're not prepared for the actual part, so, it's kind of